Okay. Well, it can be all right. Okay, Claire, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, what kind of things are you working with in your classroom, dealing problems, situations, things that you've been seeing now that we're in school for 2 months?
Well, one that has come up is trying to reach differentiate for my higher achieving students. But specifically, I have a few that are producing C or below level work, but I know their scores on tests and their ability is much more higher. So I'm trying to see what it is that is it an organizational issue? I'm finding, I think it might be a boredom issue, so they're kind of checking out during class, and so they don't know what they need to produce or what they need to turn in, and so I'm trying to see what other alternative assignment can I give to them that, versus the other students in order to get them to, produce
I'll take that as a compliment.
their ability.
Okay, so you're...
Okay. All might be done, Eddie. Okay.
Oh no, I'm scared this.
Thank you. Yes, you do. Sorry. Thank you, Jaime.
So you're frustrated because you have students that are brighter and they're not performing at their ability.
No, they're not. And I find, I don't know if this means something, but the ones that I'm looking at specifically, they're all boy students. I have girl students that also I could differentiate a little bit better because they're higher learner students, but they'll still turn in quality work. They still give me, they turn in things on time. It's the boys that are on that spectrum that are their grades are C's because they're missing work, they're not doing things, but I know that they can be there because of their test scores.
You're frustrated because they could be getting A's and B's, but they're not.
They're not.
And
so I'm wondering what is the issue. I'm thinking it's an interest level. It's something that I think they're checking out. Sometimes I had this last year, but not. There's two boys specifically where I know they're kind of sneaking reading their book, their SSR book. When I'm giving instruction, and I've had I've caught them a couple times here and there, but I guess I'm assuming that it's because they're
bored.
Yeah, they're bored with what's going on because they already know it.
Okay, so you're looking for a way to keep them engaged in your lesson, even though they might already know what you're telling them.
Right, or I guess what I'm looking at is I want to look at something I can give them to just work independently on. Give them something else. If they already know this material, how can I group them to give them something else, set them on their way so they can produce something. So they can produce, something else, and they can, and with 37 kids in one class and 36 in the other, it's a challenge. And I'm finding I'm doing well with the lower end students, trying to keep, differentiating for them. It's the higher ones I'm struggling with this year.
So what have you done to try to think of ways to
work around that,
or have you done any type of research looking into what you can do for them?
Honestly, not yet. Now I've talked to, I've definitely talked to Linda. I've talked to, our principal. I've, expressed my concern. Again, I have looked at different differentiating materials that I have from previous, in services that we've had. But I just keep finding things with differentiating the lower end, trying to differentiate for that. So I haven't completely, I'll be honest, I haven't completely started looking for higher end. But I have talked to other teachers and things, and so I know a different project would be better for them. I need to take the time to now design that for them to do. And I thought about, we do have a blog on our website, our classroom website, so I thought during this time, when I see them kind of checking out, or if I know they already know something, maybe they can kind of be in charge of that, getting entries in there, and maybe that's something that they might be interested in. But that's not targeting the actual subject material that we're teaching. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
So keeping in, this is what I'm doing for all of my classes. What are some possible things like your blog, maybe, that you can also give them to do instead of, if you're lecturing, maybe, what's a possible task that they might be able to do if they're not, I mean, if they're reading, because you think that they already know what might you be able to do to kind of give them a different task.
Right. Well, I think I guess what I've thought of is, well, when I see that happening, I can quietly just give them, okay, this is what your assignment is. But then that's because I don't want to give them more work. That's one, and that's also another thing I'm trying to see. I don't want to give them more work. I want to give them, but I also don't want to kind of say, okay, you can just jump ahead and get get this assignment done. So I'm trying to look at more things that are gearing for their higher learning. And I want to, gear for, when I'm thinking of higher learning, I'm thinking of things that they can actually start analyzing or creating, because these are two students, these are two students that I think would be really great at creating something. And I actually did that for this last project that we had. I gave them more of an open-ended assignment, and so one of the students, what he produced was a movie version of of the written version, and he did this movie, and I was really excited to see it, but I'm still trying to pull that from him because he put it on this USB drive that wasn't opening up on my laptop because it needed the original source. I mean, it's pulling teeth from him, like, okay, now go home, you need, because the other student put it on a DVD-R and we got to see the video, so I said, go home, you need to get a DVD-R, disc, put it on that. I just talked to him today, actually, at lunchtime, saying, okay, what's the deal with that? This was from Monday. Now we're on Friday. I talked to you about this. What are we going to do? And that's where his lack of organization, or just his, he's just very, it's not like he's blowing me off. He just seems to be too relaxed about the whole thing. And I think he's the youngest in his family. He has 3 older brothers, so I'm thinking maybe there's less attention on him for getting stuff done. I'm not really sure.
Well, and it sounds like you're frustrated with him, not because he isn't maybe paying attention, more that he's very capable but he's not organized.
Yeah, right.
And so what might you be able to do to help him get a little more organized?
And seeing that, so because I don't view him as one of my lower level thinkers, I haven't implemented those techniques. I think I need to, because with my lower level thinkers, I'm more on them about, are their planners signed? I check their planners. I have more communication with the parent. Did they go on my website? Did they do this? Did they do this? I'm more on top of them. So I think I need to apply those organizational strategies that I put to my lower level thinkers to him, but also treat him with it, in terms of academics, and his assignments as my higher level thinker.
Right.
So I guess I'm coming to that conclusion right now.
Yeah.
As we're talking.
Well, and that's good because, maybe start there with him.
Yeah.
But that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Claire.
Thank you. Let's have a great Friday.
Yes, you too.